Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be swatching and comparing and also doing these two eye looks using the Ucanbe Berry Cola Palette that looks like this and the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Conspiracy Palette that looks like this. So as you can see, these are very similar. So I'm going to try and see if the top palette is a dupe for the Conspiracy, and if you want to see that comparison, then just keep on watching. Okay, so before I get into the swatches, I am wearing one palette on each eye, and if you want to try and guess which palette I have on each eye, would it be like this? Would it be like this? Pause this video and let me know in the comments down below. And in terms of price difference, I will leave it up on the screen here. This palette would be around 10 times less expensive than the Conspiracy. That's a pretty big difference, but this palette has 15 shades and this one has 18. So I will be doing this look side by side, but first I am going to do all of the swatches so you can see how the shades can compare and which shades are missing. Okay, so to do the swatches, I'm taking you on this side, and I have the Berry Cola Palette and the Conspiracy. And what I think I'm gonna do is follow the Conspiracy palette in order and then swatch the shade from the Berry Cola. And my arm has nothing on it, so I'm gonna start with the shade Ranch. That is this, and it's a really white shimmer. Then this is the shade from the Berry Cola palette. I'll take a little bit more of this one, but this is actually very close. So then the shade My Pills with that very light pink. These, I would say, are definitely different. So this is the one from the Conspiracy palette and the one from the Berry Cola. Yeah, this one is definitely more pink and more pigmented. This one is very light and a little bit sheer. So the shade Tenacon compared to this one, and again the shade Tenacon looks a little bit darker. Yeah, this one didn't show up very much, so I just applied a little bit more, but you can definitely notice a difference between the two. So then there's the first shade missing on the Berry Cola palette, that is the shade Diet Root Beer. Then there's the shade Just a Theory that I think would compare to this one, but the one from the Berry Cola looks a little bit more pink. Okay, so these are a little bit different. This one is kind of more on the rose gold side, and this one is a little bit more pink, but they are a little bit close. And then there's the shade Spiraling that is similar to this one, but the shade Spiraling is a little bit more brown. And actually next to this shade, I just want to see the shade Sleep Paralysis that is on the third row. Yeah, I would say is actually a little bit more similar to this one. The shade Spiraling is definitely a lot more brown, and these two are not exactly the same, but a little bit more close. So this would be the shade comparison for the first row of the Conspiracy palette. I would say the closest ones are these two and maybe these two. So for the shade Conspiracy we have this lighter green, but the shade Conspiracy looks lighter. And I guess you can tell the difference. This shade is actually a little bit darker, but in terms of shimmer, they are both very similar. For the shade My Pills, we have this pink, but again, the tones are not exactly the same. And this one didn't swatch very well, so I'm just taking a little bit more. And yeah, again, not exactly the same. This one is kind of more bubblegum pink, and this one has a little bit of a peachy tone. For the shade Food Videos, this is the one from the Conspiracy palette, and this is the one from the Berry Cola. They are both a little bit weird to swatch, and again, the one from the Conspiracy palette is a little bit more vibrant. This one is a little bit lighter. For the shade Trisha, we have this shimmer pink. This is the one from Conspiracy, and then this is the one from Berry Cola. And in these, again, the one from the Conspiracy palette is a little bit darker, and this one is a little bit lighter, even though they are a little bit close. But I would say the one from the Berry Cola palette is a lot more metallic. Then for the shade Cheese Dust, we have an orange. So this is Cheese Dust, and this is the one from the Berry Cola. Okay, just like with the yellow and the pink, the one on the Conspiracy palette is slightly darker than this one, but I think the difference in these two is not as evident as in these or these. And finally, for the reds, we have Flaming Hot and the one on the Berry Cola. Got swatched on my wrist. It's not actually ideal, but I would say these are very, very close. Maybe with this one being a little bit more vibrant. So this is the comparison for the second row of the Conspiracy palette. And now for the final row, we have the blues that are two completely different shades. The shade What's the Tea and the light blue on the Berry Cola. Yeah, these two have very different tones. This one is definitely a baby blue kind of sky color, and this one is a little bit more on the teal side. Now I'm just going to swatch 3 shades because I'm not very sure which shade is missing. So I'm going to swatch this shade from the Berry Cola, and I'm going to swatch here the shade Diet Cola, that is the silver, with the shade from the Berry Cola palette, and the shade Sleep Paralysis. So yeah, I would say this shimmer from the Berry Cola palette is a little bit more similar to Diet Cola than Sleep Paralysis, and Sleep Paralysis is a little bit more similar to this one. So I would say the shade missing is the shade Spiraling, that is that darker brown color. But this one, in terms of shimmer, really can compare with the ones from the Conspiracy. Now the shade Not a Fact and the one from the Berry Cola doesn't swatch very well. And in terms of tones, I would say this one is a little bit more vibrant, this one is a little bit more dark. I absolutely love this shade. So we can skip the shade Sleep Paralysis that we already have in here and we already swatched before. So now for the shade Illuminati and this one, These are actually very close. So this is Illuminati and this is the one from the Berry Cola. And I would say these are probably some of the most similar shades. And I would even say this one is a little bit more shimmery. And then we are obviously missing the shade My Rights Here, that is the matte black, which is a shame, but this black would be very, very hard to beat. So that is it for the swatches of the third row of the Conspiracy palette. Okay, so now for the eye look, I think I want to do a halo eye with pinks, maybe the greens on the lower lash line. And I think I will be using the Berry Cola on this side and the Conspiracy on this one. So now we know which palette is on each side. I primed my lids with the Kiko Neutral Eye Base. So I'm going to start right away with the matte pink. And it actually shows up very well. And now for the shade Pigment. So yeah, I guess you can tell a slight difference in terms of tone. And I want to give depth to the outer corners and inner corners. So I'm going to take this shade and pack it on the outer corner and inner corner, and I'm also blending it a little bit on the crease. But I would say in terms of pigmentation, this palette actually didn't disappoint me. So now for the shade Conspiracy. It is definitely darker. I have done a look similar to this one on my One Palette 3 Looks video using the Conspiracy, but it was not exactly the same. I'm not sure if it's picking up on camera, but this eye is looking definitely darker. So in the center, I am not going to be doing a concealer base. I'm just going to use some setting spray. I'm going to take the pink shimmer and I'm packing it in the center. Same thing with the shade Trisha. See, this one is not as metallic as this one. This is the only palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics that I have, and people do say that some of his shimmers are a little bit disappointing. But he does have a new shimmer formula that I still haven't tried. So yeah, this is looking a lot different Maybe from far away you couldn't notice, but up close is definitely different. I'll give you a close-up at the end. And I just want to try a different shimmer. So I'm going to take a little bit of this one in the center. Just kind of intensifies that halo effect. And on this eye, I'm taking the shade Diet Cola. Now, this one is really pretty, and it actually makes the both eyes look a little bit more similar because this pink was darker. On my brow bone, I want to take the white shimmer and the shade Ranch from the Conspiracy. Wow, that was actually a little bit too much. But blended out, these two are very similar. So now I just want to do mascara and the rest of my face to then come back and do the lower lash line. Okay, so just to finish the lower lash line, I'm going to take this dark green in the outer corner, in the inner corner, and then on the center the lighter green. And for the Conspiracy palette, I'll use Illuminati and Conspiracy. And I do think this just needs a little bit of blending. So I'm just taking this shade from the Berry Cola to run a little bit under these. I think they were a little bit too low for my liking. And this just kind of creates a softer effect. And for this eye, I will take the shade Tanacon. But this one definitely looks darker. Finally, on my inner corner, I want to take a pop of yellow. So I'm using this one on this eye. But yeah, this one is a little bit powdery and, as you see, very light yellow. The effect doesn't seem too noticeable. And for this I am taking the shade Food Videos. This one is a lot more vibrant. You can definitely notice the difference. On my waterline, I took the NYX Faux Blacks eyeliner in Onyx, and for mascara I am using the Marvel X Maybelline Colossal. And to pair with this eye look, I just want something neutral, so I will use my Sofx Revolution lipstick in the shade Cake. Okay, so as I promised, let me give you a close-up of the eyes. So I would say you can definitely notice a difference right off the bat. The yellow, this one is a lot more vibrant. This one, even though on Monday's video it did show up very well, it blends nicely, for this sort of details is not strong enough. As for the pinks, the mattes are darker and also the pink shimmer is darker, but this pink shimmer is a lot more metallic. The shade in the middle, the silver, I think they are actually very similar. And as for the greens, I also think they're very close. And this one may be even a little bit more metallic than this one. So we do have some similar shades, we do have some different shades. And overall, we also have 3 shades missing that are these 2 and the black. For me, the black is very important. This black actually makes this palette very goth friendly palette, and it's overall an amazing black matte. But as we saw, we do have some similar shades, not quite exactly the same, but overall similar. Some of the shimmers are actually better than this, and the ones that are not better are very close. So I would say, in terms of dupe palette, the Berry Cola compared to the Conspiracy, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a really good grade for a dupe palette. Kind of blinding you a little bit with that. But yeah, if you liked this comparison, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below how you think these palettes can compare. If you think the Conspiracy palette is overall better and it's completely out of the question, or if you think this palette is actually worth the try, because there's definitely a lot of people that really don't want to support Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson anymore. So that's also something else to keep in mind. I myself, I haven't talked, and I definitely don't want to put myself into drama, but Jeffree Star Cosmetics as a brand, I support it because I think it's very inclusive, it's also cruelty-free. So those are 2 very important things for me, and I do try to keep the drama aside. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you like this video, please don't forget to leave it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see some kind of other dupe challenges, I have been doing this series on my channel that I will leave on the side in case you want to watch it. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new videos like this one every Monday, Thursday and Saturday. And that is everything for this one. Thank you so much for watching.